Hey man, why did Trap sell Nvidia? Oh, that's right, man. So listen, today we're gonna talk about why did I get out of 80% of my Nvidia contract. Here's what happened, right? Let me just explain this to you for a second, right? You know your boy been heavy in his technicals. He's really been locking in on it, right? So I was in the Nvidia play, myself and my Patreon. We was in a 130 play, and the play got up to 112%. 121%, I'm sorry. Then we took half of the play. And then right before Nvidia earnings, that day I say, listen, family, I'm selling 80% of what I have left. I'm gonna keep the 20%. So altogether, I had 110 shares, and then I sold it down to about 55 shares. Then I sold it down to like maybe 15 shares, something like that, right? But today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you exactly what I saw. I'm gonna walk you through what I saw, and I'm gonna tell you hopefully what I plan to get in next. I've already made profit on it. My Patreon has already made profit on it. So now we just wanna redistribute that bread and get back in. And we're gonna get on the chart, and I'm gonna show you what I see. Tell me if you see it, in the comments if you see it. If you got something else, say it. I'm just walking y'all through what I'm seeing because I want to show y'all how your boy Trap getting down and what I'm seeing when I'm looking at the chart. So before we get into this video, man, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this out. But also, man, tell us in the chat if you see what I see and if you like this video and how we can help you a little bit more, man. So let's get into it, man. All right, so here's the Nvidia chart. This is a daily. I love looking at the daily. And that's how I start. I kind of go through my chart. Well, what I do is my process is let's look at the weekly first so I get an understanding of what's going on. And then twice a month, I'll check the monthly. In the middle of the month and the end of the month, I'll check the monthly. And then I'll check the weekly. Boom, boom, boom. I check that all the time. Then from there, I'm daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, so I can get confirmation on what I got going on. I kind of stay in those areas because they are really, really clear of all the noise. When you get down to that 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute, that's more a day trader time frame. I'm not necessarily a day trader at all. Probably do something later on as I get really, 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 really on a Schwarzenegger good with it, you know what I'm saying? But right now, what I like to do is go 4 hour, 1 hour, and then I'll look at my I'll look at that 15-minute to kind of confirm what I'm seeing, and then I'm back where I gotta go at. So let's get into it, man. So let's talk about how it's all started, man. So we've been in this trade for such a long time, man. We've probably been in this trade since the bottom. Me, I'm lying. So we probably got in probably about at 100. We probably got in at 100. Yeah, we got in at 100, which was probably about right up in here somewhere. Yeah, we probably got in at right up in here somewhere. And so we was able to rock out with it all the way up to there. All right, right here is where earnings happened at. I sold here. Now, let's walk through why what happened. As you can see, like for me, I set my supply zone up, set my demand zone up. Remember, this is from early on. And so me, that's early on, just saying, okay, here's what we got going on. What was important for me was watching the trade play out the way it played out. And so I was excited about it. Like, okay, cool, I'm in it. But then I knew earnings was coming up. And so once earnings came up, I realized that, hey man, Nvidia always falls after earnings. And they're gonna have an amazing quarter. It usually have a big spike up and then it'll come down, but it'll have a great quarter. And it's been doing this time and time again. So it wasn't that I was expecting it to beat not to beat earnings. I knew it was gonna beat earnings. I knew it was gonna beat revenue. I knew it was gonna go crazy. But I also understood that it also has a full 5% swing every time afterwards, right? So let's backtrack. Nvidia beats earnings, it skyrockets. It goes from 135 up to 143, man, through that time. And we're gonna look at it on the chart so we can bring you through it. I'm like, okay, like, bet. You know, I'm not mad. I still got, you know, maybe maybe like 12, 13, 14, 15 contracts. I'm not mad. We had 110. I'm all profit. I'm not tripping. So that emotionally right there, I'm not worried about it. I want to redistribute those funds in the market. Thursday, the stock goes from 143. It stays about 138-ish. It stays up in that area. And then Friday, what happens is it goes down to 138. right? Then it goes all the way down to 135. And so let's explain what I see on the chart. And so I'm like, yep, that's right, what I thought it was gonna do. So let's just explain what we see right here. So this was earnings right here. So I want you to pay attention to something. So this is my supply zone. My supply zone coming off this, this dragonfly, no, this come off this doji candle right here. And this sets the downtrend for this, right? It's a doji. This doji candle is where my supply zone hits, and it starts this downturn. Now, here's what you understand about this. In this supply zone, you see it hits this area right here. Now, this is going to be an important area. This is 142. This is an important area on my supply zone. Why? Because we also see that this 142 gets hit here and here. It gets here, come down, it hits here, come down, it hits here, come down, and then it hits here and comes all the way down. So that 142 is important. But also the 142 is important because when we look right here, what do we see, right? We see two bullish candles, and then you have this bearish engulfing candle, which is also called an outside bar, right? So you have two bullish candles, right, coming up off this run up, and then the bear said, man, nah, we good. And they had this engulfing candle. Why is it called an engulfing candle? Because this candle is taking over. It took this one candle, took over two candles. It's engulfing, it swallowed them alive, but also it's an outside bar, if you look at that, which double downs. And then what you see is from here, you see the engulfing candle, then you see this sweep down. So the bears engulf the bulls and then push them all the way down. Right? And then we see the bulls come here and they get their way back up to what? 142 again. What happened? 142 and 142 happens, but then if we go a little bit further, what do we see? We see 142 right there, which caused another push down. So we see that 142 is actually consistent with pressure. So what did I say? So when I saw this when I saw this doji right here, and then I saw that downtrend, you know, mind you, remember, but I'm way over here. I don't pay attention to this until I'm over here because we're looking at a play here. Remember, before you can move right, you got to look left because looking left is going to tell you how to look right. But also when we go a little further, what we understand is every candlestick that you see on this journey represents Nvidia's DNA. Right? So every time you're looking at a candle, every time you're looking at a chart, what you got to understand is every candle represents the DNA. Write that down. It now becomes a part of that stock's genealogy. It becomes a part of that stock's history. You can always go back to it and see what the roots is. So that's how I look at it when I look at these candles. What is your DNA? What do you do around these areas? Have you broken these areas? Have you visited these areas? Has this area been support? Has this area been resistance before? Do you have value gaps? Is it a gap that has to be full somewhere? All of these things are important for us as investors and traders to understand what the hell is going on when we're looking at this. So always pay attention to them. And you add the fundamentals with what you're learning here, you just take it to a whole nother level. So as I'm looking to as we in these plays here, because remember, I made this way over here. I made my supply zone way when we got in this play here at 100, right? Because I always gonna look left. All right, so I stretched my supply zone out. When we got to 100, I stretched it out to about right here. And then as we went, I pulled it out. I just kept stretching it. But the dope part about this is, again, the 142 bounces here. Remember, it revisits here, shoots down, revisit here, shoots down. Then it gets inside of my what? Supply zone, shoots down, touches the bottom of my supply zone, shoots down, and never visits it again. It never comes back to the supply zone again, none of this time. But here's what happens. Let's talk about how markets work. Eventually, it comes back to what? Our supply zone. What happens? Hits the bottom of our supply zone like it did here at 135. What did it do? It stayed, created a spinning top, which is a doji, stayed, created this hammer, stayed, and then stayed. So it's consolidating here, right? Consolidating here, then creates this other doji, stage, long handle doji, and it just stays in this area. right? Nothing too crazy, but then here's what happens. Here's where earnings is at. Right? Now, earnings is at 135, is in my supply zone that day. So once we get to the supply zone here, before earnings, this is Wednesday. This is before the bell closed at about 1:30. I tell my trappers, I say, hey, y'all, I'm about to sell 80% of what we have left on this Nvidia play, right? And I want to see what happens for earnings. Remember, we taking profit, we holding on, like I'm not tripping about it at all. So what happens? It goes through earnings, pops up here. Now it pops above my 142, pops out of that and does it goes to 143. That's interesting, right? That's why you have this gap right here. So you have that gap. Well, we knew they had to have a catalyst to push it up right there, because this tells us, based on this, it would have never pushed itself up there, right? It had to have a catalyst to push it up there, which a sweet earnings play shot all the way up. So I'm like, all right, I ain't really tripping. But notice something. The next day after earnings, after the 143 hits, it closes now at 140. It opens back at 140. Watch me, y'all. Right? It opens back at 140. Right? And then this is Friday. It opens at 140. It comes up to about 141, goes all the way down to about 134-ish, right? 134-ish, but then closes back at 135 Friday. All right, Trap, why is that important? Why, it ain't no genius, Trap. Well, what it did was, this supply zone is serious. Now, here's what we know. All-time high is 153, which is exclusive. Now, this supply zone is important. So what I feel, like, I'm not saying y'all to do this, I'm just telling you what I feel. I feel at 134, I feel like Nvidia can come back to 129. I think that 129 would be a good entry. Now, but it'll still be inside of this channel. Now, this is where it becomes important at. Because if it bounces off here, like it has done multiple times, well, Trap, where do you come up with the 129 at? Well, if we look, remember, this is part of the stock's DNA. You can see my horizontal line all the way over. Let's talk about 129. Well, we get 129 right here, we get a pop. You get a 129 right here, you get a pop, right? It sat on 129 here, right? It sat on 129 here and popped up and then pushed down, right? What happens here when it sat on 129? It popped up. What happens here when it sat on 129? Popped up. What happens here when it sat on 129? Popped up. So if we just looking at the stock's history, remember, these candles represent history in the DNA of Nvidia. So it tells us if it hits 129, it normally pops back up. So what I want to do is I want to wait to see, is that 134? Now, mind you, the dope part about it is I don't have to chase this. I don't have to chase this at all. We made our money. We could go somewhere else and see what happens when it come back. But if it drops to 129, I'm going to wait to see if I can get some confirmation. But my next good fight, to me, is 125. Why? Because we see what happens here. It gaps up, 125, shoots up, right? We got something here at 125, but it came down, not too strong, but it touches it. And then you get a 125 here where it closes at. It dropped, then punched back up. So I like 125. 125 may be a good spot for us. We come back, we can say maybe, I like 125, maybe 120 here. So now to fill that gap, so you got 120 here, 120 probably be better. Yep, because that was 125, but that's a 120 here. Then you get 120 here, you get a pop. I like that. So I'll close 125 is what I'm looking for. I don't think it'll come all the way down that far, but I'm thinking 129 will be my next entry on it will probably be at 129. And from 129, I'll put a 129 and I'll give it a 140 strike. I'll go from 129 to 140 and see what happens, because that puts me right back inside here. Or you go 129 and you go with a 135 strike and see what that does. Or you go 129, 140, because it already showed us it can get inside 140, 142-ish. So you can play it safe. You can go anywhere between, you go 129, you can go anywhere between 135 and 140 with a strike at 129. I think that's a great play for you because you see it bouncing off that. So just want to give you all a little breakdown on why I got out of my Nvidia play. I kept everything but 15% of it. And this supply zone is important for you. If you go to your daily chart, check it out, see if you see what I see if you see the same channels I see if you see the same things I see. Come back in the comments, tell us what you like, man. It's your boy, the Wall Street Trapper, man. Listen, man, come check us out on Trapping Tuesdays each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Also, if you want to come join the Patreon, man, click the link or come to my Instagram page and comment, print money. You know what I'm saying? We in as a family, it's a vibe. We do a lot of technical analysis, a lot of fundamental analysis. It's just a whole group of people that's really just getting to the market, man. No judging, no nothing like that, man. And if you want to get your merch, man, you already know, man, Wall Street looks like us now, man. But make sure you like this. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this, man. Thank y'all for 500,000 subscribers on the channel, man. Let's get us to 1 million, y'all. That'll be truly, truly, truly phenomenal. I'm not going to lie, man. Like, getting us to 1 million would be, like, next level, y'all. Like, so help us get to 1 million. Definitely appreciate that. Last but not least, that's not me in the chat telling you about Bitcoin and WhatsApp and all the other stuff, man. That ain't me, man. So I'll see y'all next time, man. Salute.